Hello everyone, and one CLB here. I had a person ask me something about crossband repeating on the KT-7900D by QYT, and I found out that it does not have crossband repeat between the bands because all the bands go through the same final, so it's kind of unusable like that. Plus, it has a single receiver for all the bands, so you can't transmit and receive at the same time. So there's no crossband repeat function. Like I think it's either the 8900 or the 8800 from Yaesu, FT 8900, 8800. Those I believe you can cross band or cross repeat, things like that. Yeah, I took the cover part. I took the cover off of my 7900, which I do not recommend that you do. It's not a there's nothing user serviceable in there whatsoever. All the parts are smaller than a speck of dirt, pretty much. You wouldn't be able to see them, let alone try to fix it. I believe the finals for the radio are on the side. It looks like it, but there's a brass plate screwed down to a brass post holding down what appears to be a foam pillow. I don't know if that's one of those heat conducting foam pillows or whatnot, but it's right at the back of the radio, right where the fan is. I was saying I was going to do this, and I finally did it. Like I said, do not open your radio. It's not worth it. The most if you do open it, or if you do have to open it, the only thing you can do is change the fan, maybe, and maybe that the transistor in this video that I made. But other than that, everything else is way too small. It's all surface mount. Oh, excuse me. It's all surface mount, and not even worth your time of trying to take it apart. I was looking at it, and I was like, wow, this is small. There's only one board in this radio that I can tell. I don't want to take that board out because I don't know if it'll kill the radio completely, because there's a lot of points of solder on this. And another thing, it's fairly neat except for a couple of spots where you see giant globs of solder. But other than that, the radio's pretty neat inside, solder-wise and connection-wise. I mentioned in this video coming up that I would I'm probably going to see about setting up looking at building a small timer of some sort to get the fan to stay on longer, because the fan only goes on when you transmit. It goes on when you transmit, shuts off when you stop transmitting. That's not good, especially if you long-winded like I am, and it causes damn hair, cat hair, causes the radio to heat up very fast. Oh, speaking of temperatures, I found out that the radios work fairly well. The displays work fairly well for LCD in cold weather, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, 18, anywhere from 7 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. They work fairly well. They're still very lucid. They do tend to, I have noticed that even in the warm weather, the display kind of acts a little funky. Like you can have the characters set to white, and when you transmit, the characters of the channel or the frequency turn green. Well, sometimes I sit there and or if it receives also, it'll turn green. Sometimes when I sit there and unkey, some of the characters will stay green, some of the characters will turn back to white. So it's kind of tricky on that. So just feel free to comment, and give me any more suggestions and things like that, and I'll see about making more videos. So hope you liked the video. It should start pretty much after I finish rambling here. So, N1CLB out. The video should start right about now. Hello everyone, N1CLB here. Right in front of me I have the KT-7900D radio. I've made a couple of videos about it so far on its operation and its programming and everything. And today I'm going to show you why I think it's important that you have it very well cooled down and a lot of ventilation. I'm turning my radio down. Why you have a lot of ventilation on these radios, and I'll show you the exact reasoning. First off, as you see, there is a small 1 inch by 1 inch fan on the back. It pulls the air out through the radio. From where it comes in, from where the air comes in, I have no idea. I don't know if it comes in through the speaker or through the front ports or anything like that. I haven't felt any air come out of it as yet. Now, this is the reasoning as to why I say you need to have this very well, how can I say, very well cooled and very well ventilated. Ready? I'll just take the cover off. I've already removed the screws. This radio is a one-piece metal body. As you can see, the whole bottom of it is somewhat of fins, and then right here, I believe this is the finals, because that's where the fan pulls the air across from. Now, like I said, I have no idea as to where it pulls the air in from, but this is basically the entire radio. Excuse me for constantly having to move this. My actual bench is kind of severely covered with stuff at the moment, other projects I'm working on. But if you look right here, see this right here. I'll move this in closer so you can see it better. If you look, I know it's kind of blurry, but this is a sponge. It's like one of those heat transfer sponges. It's a giant block of it. It looks like the type of stuff that you would use between a heat sink and a computer processor. Now, this is, I couldn't tell you as to why this is so blurry. This is what it is. This is how it works. I don't know what that is that's underneath it, but it's right directly in front of the fan. And then it has a little, if you look right in here, well, it's kind of blurry, but you can see there's a brass stud connected to this piece of brass right here with a screw, Phillips head screw. And if you look, you got ferrite beads on both the power lines and a ferrite bead on the wires going to the fan. It's actual metal because my screwdriver is somewhat magnetized. You can see it somewhat sticking to it. So this is the connection for the speaker. The actual back speaker port right here is for a headset that is purchasable, that you can purchase separately. It does not come with the radio. The fan does not stay on. It only goes on. It turns on when you transmit, and then turns immediately off after you transmit, which causes the radio to heat up rather quickly. I just noticed one of the screws is loose on this. And it's not loose, it's just not in correctly. The threads are probably all stripped out in here. So, this itty bitty radio puts out about 25 watts. The only thing that I could see that connects to the this piece of foam that connects to the body is this right here. I don't know what it is. I think it has a bunch of different connectors on it. Where it goes to, I can't really see in this lighting. It might be one of the finals. It might be a voltage regulator for the finals. But if you look here, Chinese work at its best. Two ginormous globs of solder just resting there. And then there's another one right there. I don't know if that's a new way of like fixing things or putting components on, but some of the components on this thing are so small I can barely see them with my own eyes. I mean, like, this is not plugged in, by the way. Like this one right here, I can barely see that with my own eyes. Or even that one there, I don't even know what that is. Could be a diode, could be a resistor, could be anything really. The face can be removed, but we don't have the ability to use these types of cables to work with. So your best bet would be just leave it alone. The radio's small enough you could stick it in your ashtray, and it won't cause too much trouble. It has it's fairly basic. I mean, I think most of the components are on the other side, but I don't want to pull the board out of this thing for fear that it may not go back in, because this thing is like very, very tiny and scary. One thing that I'm a little concerned about is all these mount holes for the screws go right to the board. Like this one right here, if you put a screw in that's too long, you'll hit this, and if this is the finals, you'll break it and wind up putting the radio to junk. So just be careful. Make sure they're ventilated properly. I'll take a look-see and see if I can see if there's a way of putting this so that it'll stay on for X amount of time. Maybe build a small timer sort of circuit that it'll stay on for a count of a couple of seconds once you key it up, and then it unkeys and it'll stay on for like 10 seconds afterwards, and then have it wired into the 12 volts direct. That way when you key up, it'll send power to the positive on the fin leads, and then it'll trip a relay or something that'll or a FET switching diode or switching transistor, and turn the fan on and leave it on for 30 seconds so the radio will cool down a little better. Other than that, the radio has a lot of bang for the buck. I have not heard any bad intermod with them while having it in my car. Although I have noticed that a lot of times it will hear a stage. It will hear like I have local ham repeaters programmed into these, and I can see the signal coming out of the repeater, but it doesn't break the squelch. So I'm wondering if there's a if I have a setting that's wrong inside of the radios. So I'll look at that after, and I'll let everybody know about that, because that's definitely a plus when you're trying to talk to somebody on a local repeater and you can't hear them because, well, it doesn't break the squelch open. So other than the big globs over here and that glob there, it looks pretty basic. Everything looks pretty normal and pretty set. Like I said, I will say, I can't say it enough, you've got to have a lot of ventilation on this because it does not ventilate properly. They put the fan in the wrong spot. The fan should be on these half fins, or at least blowing across some of them, because this little bugger does get hot if you're long-winded like I am, as you can tell by the video. So I want to see if I can also upgrade this, see exactly what is underneath that pad, and if it is the finals, just take and put like a small heat sink on it, small basic heat sink that you find in most electronics that have them, and that'll probably cool it off better than a piece of brass with a big pillow on it. So hopefully this video was informative and you guys also found good use of it. This is N1CLB, and I'll catch you later. Signing out.